So I'm just progressing my jobs for today, which are with all the seeds that I'm buying, of course, I got from some like plug plant dianthus thrown in, and I thought, well, why not? So I got these. I need to pot these on. They're obviously coming out of these plug cells. What I think with my own seedlings and with these, what I've been reading is you can't just whack them into multi-purpose compost. It's too rich for a young plant. So I think a lot of people make their own sort of mixes that aren't as strong, and that's what Monty Don does, where he's getting all his grit and vermiculite and start losing concentration in terms of what he's doing, potting on everything. But I have, my husband accidentally picked up this John Innes number 2, when I'd asked him to get a number 3 to plant my shrub roses in, because that's when I googled it. That's what mature shrub roses need to be potted in a pot. So he's picked up this number 2, and it says it's potting on compost, so it's not as rich, and it's for young plants. So I am using this spare bag that we've got, and I am using it to pot on these dianthus, and if they do okay, I'll use that for my seedlings when they are ready to be potted on. So that's my job. I need to finish off sowing some lupins. So I had soaked some lupin seeds overnight, which is what I've been told to do, or what I googled and what came up. And then I have got this seed sowing compost, and I put some of them in a propagator, which is what I've done with my other seeds. But I read from ChatGPT, that gives me a reasonable amount of advice, whether it's accurate or not, I'm not sure, that they don't like their roots disturbed. So actually I'm also using these small biodegradable pots, sort of half filling them, putting the seed in, and then if that's okay, then they can germinate in there, and then when they're big enough, you can actually just sort of put that pot into a bigger pot and not disturb the roots, and they need to be potted on. So I'm going to sow some lupins into these biodegradable pots today as well. As an update from last week, these are the foxgloves. So a couple of them have just gone absolutely mad over the last week. We've had a lot of rain as well, and this is a south-facing decking, so it's wet and it's sunny, and the pots are quite well draining, and they're raised off the ground, so they're free draining, the sun, and there's wet water, so they're all doing quite well. I'm quite happy. And then these are the pansies that we potted on last week. They're all doing okay as well, I think. So yeah, they're doing all right. And then some of them have come into flower, pansies and viola, so that's nice. So I'll leave them to it. And then the other thing that I'm going to do today, if I've got time, is I've got hellebore, or a couple of hellebore young plants that have been growing, I've potted on. So let me just get them. I've used a pot that I had randomly and potted these on when they came maybe a month ago now, so it's got some new growth kicking in. And I've cleared out the pot, which is a terracotta pot that had some summer flowers in, which I more or less didn't look too happy anymore. So I got rid of those, and this afternoon, if I've got time, I will pot these on. And then my idea is to have these in a terracotta pot over winter. Hopefully they'll flower, and then in the planters, as I said, it's a plastic pot in these, so I'll do a new plastic pot with winter pansies in, and that will be my flowers over winter, and possibly some of those winter pansies in hanging baskets as well over winter, just to keep a bit of floral interest in the garden. But yeah, I'm going to go back to my dianthus now and carry on potting them on. What I'm going to do with these is, so I've just filled these pots with the number 2, and then I'm actually just going to water them now, so that I don't have to do it when the plants are newly in them, so that it's wet. I don't know why people don't do this. Maybe I'll find out. Maybe it's because it's a bit sticky or a bit muddy then to work with, but they always sort of put them on and then put them in. I'm drowning the plants already. Typical. There you go. So yeah, but I always like to do it before, because yeah, rather than wet the whole plant when it's been put in. But we'll see if that works. And then the other thing which I thought was quite funny is to get these plug plants out. Like I said last week with the winter pansies, it was quite hard to get the plug plants out. So I found this in the kitchen drawer, which was like obviously from one of the kids' party bags that they've got from a party, is a glow stick thing. So I find what the best thing is if I can pick them up and they've got this little hole in the bottom, which is quite small, but I think it will fit, and I just push it in and push them up. Because I've seen professional flower growers have got like popper boards and stuff for their plug plants when they're moving them on. So this is my version of a popper. It's a party bag glow stick. So yeah, I'll crack on with this now. The only thing is, what I'm wondering with some of these is that some of them seem a bit. I'm going to get criticised now for my potting, but some of these seem a bit leggy. As in they're quite like tall and not bushy. That's what I understand legginess is. I think if it's like been too bright or too warm, they can just sort of grow more than you want them to, or grow too tall too fast, and you can pinch them out. But beginner gardener, don't know exactly what, if I should do it here or what I should do. But I think what you do is you just get your finger and thumb and take it back to a leaf joint that's obviously the true leaves, and you just pinch. It's a bit hard to do one-handed. I'll have to sort this out in a second. And then you take it back. That's obviously not quite right. You take it back to the leaf joint, and they should concentrate more on that sort of growth, or that growth at that point. And you've taken at least their head off and get a bit bushier, so they're not as leggy as plants, tall and thin and weedy looking. So we'll see if that was the right thing to do or not. I'm just going to tidy that up a little bit. So there he is. I've marked it with a star, so I know which one I've pinched out, and then I might see how he gets on, or if he starts to die back or anything, then I'll know that probably that wasn't the right thing to do. But at least I've done a little experiment. I'm actually going to put these in a cold frame that we've just put out on the lawn, because I've given them a good water, and actually it looks like it's clouding over and going to rain, so I don't really want them to get more wet. So I'll stick them in that cold frame and actually put the lid down, because it's quite cool today, and I don't want them to get absolutely drenched in their pots when they've already been watered. So yeah, that's what I'll do next. Didn't actually get round to the hellebores, so I'll do that tomorrow, although it's heavy rain tomorrow, but oh well, just go out in the rain. Just to finish, so I have to do the lupins, so I've still got these now, but I've only got 4 or 5 of them to do. And then I ordered these, which are Verbena lollipop. So I'm sure you recognise the plant, but this is like a dwarf variety, or it doesn't get as tall, because the border's in front of the decking. I didn't want to like create a hedge of stuff or things that look too tall and get blown over and stuff. But they're not hardy, so I reckon they're pretty dry in there, and they look pretty root bound. So I'm going to take them out, and I'm going to put them in a 9cm pot and put them in multi-purpose compost. That's what I'm going to go for. And then I might leave them outside for a while, and then I will probably bring them in over winter and put them in our conservatory, which is unheated, although we've got like a little electric radiator we use. So it's mainly like a playroom. So it'll be unheated during the week, and then at the weekend we've got a little like oil heater, electric heater thing in there. So we'll turn it on when the kids have a play. But it obviously doesn't freeze. So I will stick them in there on a shelf until spring, and then when the last frost is done, it will be fine. Apart from my lupins, the other thing I'm going to do is I've got these trays, which obviously have been for other seedlings and things. I didn't realise you have to sterilise things before you can reuse them, because I'm like, well, soil, it's dirty, isn't it? So just thought I could use them, but you do have to sterilise them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wash these with soapy water, and then the kids. This is someone them. My eldest daughter's come back for a play date, and all the kids were excited. I'm going to wash these in soapy water, and then I'm going to leave them in like a diluted bleach in the sink overnight, because when I use seed compost, it's not very good for the young plants to actually grow, I don't think. So I'm using quite a lot of seed compost in cells, bigger cells, and then potentially having to, hello cat, hello, potentially having to sort of chuck it out because I'm potting them on then, and it's not good for the next phase. So I don't want to waste seed compost, especially on seeds or cells that don't germinate. So I'm going to wash these and have them as smaller, and then they should be okay. We'll see how it goes. I realised I didn't do like an end of the day wrap up, so I thought I'd end this video by explaining how I was using ChatGPT to help me with some of the stuff or information I wanted on gardening. So I've created this document. It's my seeds, and it's got some key information that I wanted on it. And I have bought some new seeds recently. So what I've done is I've made a list of these seeds. Here you go. And I am asking ChatGPT to update my document with these plants. I think I confused it because I also asked for seed size. So there was a bit of back and forth, and that was probably my prompt or prompt engineering, as they say. But it did sort of bring back the information, first of all, in a table, and then I just had to ask for it. As I say, it's a bit of back and forth because I wanted the document updated. I just want to keep all this in one place, and I just want one document that I can refer to. The seeds are in alphabetical order, so as I'm dealing with them, I can just have a look, which ones we're talking about. It's you could have any information in there. You could create any table, anything that particularly that you stumble over in terms of your seeds or your plants, like watering or feeding or anything like that. You could ask it, and you could create a bit of a schedule for yourself or information for yourself about how to look after your plants. So again, it brought it back in like a table. I think it was checking with me that I was happy with the seed size information. I do pay for ChatGPT, but you can use the free version for this. The other thing that I use it for is on YouTube videos, in the description, you see, and this is picked at Dawn, and it was a really good video. All her videos are really good. She's a professional fire grower, so I'd really recommend this channel. But all videos normally have a transcript in the description. Sorry, it's a bit cut off there because I don't, in case any of my personal information was on my laptop, so it's just a little bit of my screen, but I copied and pasted the transcript of good videos into a text file. This is the document just showing you that it had finished and now it's updated with my new seeds. So good to go. I'll save that. But the transcript that I was going through, you can put it in a text file, or actually you could just paste it directly in. And what I want from a good video is, instead of trying to find the video again and go back and rewatch it for the hints or tips or plants it mentioned, I can just copy and paste that transcript into ChatGPT, and I'll ask it for the information that I want. So in particular here, it was like, what are the hints and tips around drought, and in particular, like which plants were mentioned. Because in London, when it's urban, we get hot summers and it can be really dry. So it's given me a useful summary, it's done the hints and tips, and then it's given me the list of plants that she said, went to seed really quickly, didn't do well, and then a list of the plants that performed well in the drought. So this is really handy information. Again, you could create like a rolling Word document of all your favorite YouTube hints and tips. Next time you watch a good video, do the same thing, update the document you've got. And when you remember you want to look something up, you can just, Control F and find it in the document. But yeah, so this is how I've been using AI on my gardening journey, and it's been really helpful. Obviously, it can hallucinate and come up with rubbish, but it normally doesn't. So yeah, good.